Welcome to Off-Leash Public Affairs, a romp through news events and politics of the Santa Barbara area. The show is hosted by Kathy Murillo and David Pritchett.
This is quite a milestone for me to be here today talking to you. I have to absolutely thank my incredible supporters. I've been sharing this story, which I think is absolutely true. 5 years ago, Supervisor Carbajal sat me down when he was going to appoint me to the Commission for Women for the county and said, you know, Monique, I have to ask you something. Are you someone who wants to implement policy or make policy? And he said, just think about that. And 5 years ago, I said, I'm doing good work in the community. I love what I do. And now I'm here standing to you saying I'm ready and I'm committed to making policy. I think it's absolutely important to have leaders who have different experiences. For me, policy implementation and policy making have been something that's been a little bit disconnected. And I think that as an individual who's worked with our schools for the last 8 years, as someone who's really had direct contact with over 3,000 students in our community and over 400 parents, I bridge that. I bridge that and I'm able to say, look, I get what happens day in, day out with our schools, but I also have the skills, the training, the background, and understanding to contribute to the policy making for the school board. So I have to thank everyone for all your support. I think you may have heard a little bit about my background. I started off just right around the corner at Harding School as an English as a second language student. And back then, my parents filled out this infamous parent language survey that we're still talking about and said, yes, the primary language spoken at home is Spanish. So I got tracked into ESL. And through my time, I learned English, learned how to read, write English, and made it to the GATE program. Graduated, went off to Berkeley, got my my undergrad degree there and my master's at Columbia. And I think that my story is not the only story of success from our school districts. And I also think it should not be the only story of success for our school districts. So I absolutely think it's important to bring individuals who have that experience, who can have that testament of what it's like to be a student and a leader in our community. I've been involved in different capacities in our community, not only through the County Commission for Women, not only on nonprofits like New Beginnings Counseling Center, but also through programs like the Catherine Harvey Fellows program through the Santa Barbara Foundation that have really helped me understand the role that the community plays in ensuring that our students are also successful. I'm a big believer that what happens in the classroom is what's going to contribute to academic success of our students. But it's absolutely clear to me that what happens in our community, that the role that the city has, that the role that our families have, is also going to contribute to academic success for our community and for our students. So I'm excited for the opportunity. I'm thankful to have all of you here supporting. And I absolutely believe that come November 2nd, I am a candidate who will champion success for our students, for our community, and who really is going to bring some of the much needed perspectives and knowledge of what it means to be a student here, what it means to be a leader here, and what it means to bridge the gap between the community and our students. So thank you for being here, and I'm happy to answer any questions that any of you may have, because I can keep talking. Thank you.
I do have a question, and I guess, you know, your background, being a Latina, and being as successful as you are, what do you really think made the difference for you growing up, going to Harding, which at the time was one of the schools that was probably not the school that parents were sending their students to? I mean, what do you really think contributed? You're driven, obviously, but I'm curious, what has motivated you?
There's two things that contributed to my success, and those are the two things that I absolutely believe will contribute to the success of our students. And I think one is what happens in the classroom. I talk a lot about my favorite teacher, one of my favorite teachers, who was my second grade teacher at Harding School, Mrs. D'Alfonso. She's still teaching there. And I don't ever remember being an ESL student in her classroom, ever. High standards, were very important. Every student had same expectations. We were all going to do well. I don't even remember being pulled out of the classroom to go do my reading and writing in a different small group. And so I think that that's absolutely critical. The role that our teachers, that our educators play, that what happens in the classroom every day is very, very important. But the other thing that was extremely helpful is the role that our community played. I'm someone who after school was going to city programs. I was part of Boys and Girls Club. My first extracurricular activity was taking ballet classes at the Goleta Community Center, which still used to be Santa Barbara then. It wasn't its own city. And I think that those are really, really important ways of engaging our students. My interest for the arts came from what the community had to offer. And so what I see that was something that was needed 30, 40, 20 years ago is something that we can still use every day to day.
I want to talk a little bit about the partnership with UCSB and how you see that really helping all the kids that are coming. I know that Harding students go to UCSB and they get to actually get their hands on some interesting projects, and can you talk about that?
So, I've been working at UCSB for the last 4 years. For the last 4 years with programs, federal multi-million-dollar grants that focus on student achievement. And I think that one of the areas and uniquenesses of what I bring also as a school board is that understanding of the different types of programs that UCSB has to offer for our school board and our school district, more importantly. I think the UCSB collaboration is really important, not only from training our teachers and providing support to our teachers that are already in place, but also bringing in different programmings from the national, state level that are doing a lot of great work with our students. For example, the LEAPS program. The LEAPS program is a program that's actually it's funded through a grant, through a federal science, technology, engineering grant. Brings grad students into our junior highs to help our students learn and mentor our students with science, technology, engineering, and math initiatives. And I think that I can go on with a list of different programmings, but I also think that having UCSB, a 4-year research institution that trains our teachers, that provides support to our school district, that serves as consultants, as advisors, but also brings in college students to do tutoring, to do mentoring, is a very, very important resource that we have in our community. And I definitely think that a candidate like myself is able to bridge some of that and ensure that our school district, that our community also knows that, look, we have a great resources and this is what they're offering to the school district, and really enhance and continue to build on that. So I think that that's going to be something that's very neat.
Like all local government, the budgets and the revenue are in dire straits, perhaps the worst ever. What do you think the school district should do to save funds, including should the teachers, faculty, and administrators be a source for saving money? Should that be an option?
Well, I think that we can all agree that the budget has been a tremendous challenge for the school district. Losing $20 million over the last 4 years has been something that's been very difficult. I am a big believer that in order to address our budgetary challenges, we need to have a multi-pronged approach. I think first and foremost, the issue is much bigger than at the local district. So we need to work with our state legislatures to ensure that education funding becomes a priority. We don't have options. We must work with our state in order to do this. I also think that secondly, we need to continue to leverage any federal money that comes our way. We currently have some monies that are coming to us to keep teachers and classroom staff in the classroom. I'm a big believer that we should try by all means to protect the individuals and the staff that works with our students on an everyday basis. We need to protect the cuts from the classrooms. So I will continue to support that. And I think last, we need to ensure that we're continuing to work with our community, with the nonprofit, with the for-profit, the business community, to ensure that our before school and after school programming doesn't go away. I think this is supplemental programming to what the school districts can offer, and really understanding how we can leverage not only incoming minimal sources, but also what our community does is going to be very, very, very key.
The other part of my question is, do you think administration and administrators are a potential way to save money?
I think we are working with a school district that has about 63 administrators. So if you look at the state, we don't actually have a huge number of administrators compared to other similar school districts. And I think that we need to ensure that we're supporting and we have staff in place who really are providing the types of support, resources, direction, and leadership that our district needs. I think we can't, it's really not a yes or no answer. I think we must ensure that every individual and every person is working to support our schools and our students.
Okay, let me go to another question. From my observation, we have sort of regular elementary schools like Harding, McKinley, Franklin. We have charter schools, we have academies, maybe something else. Do you think that these varieties of school models are setting up a class-based system where there's sort of higher quality and lower quality schools? And do you think that's happening? And is that a problem if it is?
I think our public schools do have different models of public of schools within the larger district, and I absolutely think that the models per se don't create a discrepancy amongst communities. I think that what we're really looking at, so we have some traditional neighborhood schools that are high performing and others that aren't, and we can say the same thing about some of our charter schools, for example. We have some that are high performing and others. I believe that what we need to do is, regardless of what model lies within our Santa Barbara School District, we need to ensure that the staff there has the support, the teachers have the appropriate training, and that we allocate resources in ways that will ensure that every school, every student, and every classroom is a high quality classroom offering rigor and challenge and opportunities to our students. So I don't per se think the model is the challenge. I believe that it's really about the resources and type of training that our schools have that will ensure the quality school that we want for our students.
The model right now, does it lead to an inequity currently, though?
I think the models themselves aren't what leads to inequity, in my opinion. I think it's the resources, the quality teachers that will contribute to success. I think if we just take away charter schools or our community academies, we still continue to see some of the challenges within the neighborhood schools. So to me, that speaks to the fact that the models aren't the challenge, but it's really ensuring that every school has the support, the training, the resources to provide a quality education to our students.
Last question. Give me one or two reasons in your experience or your background and why you would be a good school board trustee.
I believe that I would be a great candidate for the Santa Barbara School Board trustee race because I'm an individual who really understands what it means to not only be a student from our school districts, but also to have that direct connection with our community, with our students and with our parents. I'm an individual who has managed multi-million-dollar grants that are linked to student achievement, and I think it's important to not only have the professional background, but I think that personal connection to our community. We can have the best plans in place, but it's really going to be the leaders that are elected that are going to drive those plans to ensure we're meeting our performance benchmarks and ensure that our students are getting a quality education. And I believe that my skills, my background, my involvement with the community as a leader are what's going to contribute to that.